coffee, frozen and packaged vegetables, and the list goes on and on and on, contributing to a total food import bill of over 126 million EC dollars. But Mr. Speaker, I have good news. We have in this budget allocated just over $56 million to rectify this constraint by over 25% before 2025. And the reality is, Mr. Speaker, we have the ability and opportunity to produce all of the above mentioned products and so much more, as the extent of the local market for food commodities provide just a glimpse of the golden gateway available to our cottage industries and commercial entrepreneurs, in addition to the avenue for development of the agro-processing sector to increase value-added output for regional trade expansion. Mr. Speaker, we at the Ministry of Agriculture are on a mission to locating and developing a cadre of entrepreneurs who can and are currently adding value to our agricultural produce to develop enriched, flavored and packaged foods, beauty supplies and skincare products, medical alternatives, and other agro-processed goods. Mr. Speaker, a government without a mission is a government lost. So here are the components involved in achieving this mission, and I will list them briefly. A comprehensive needs assessment, which has already begun, capacity building, availability of and access to finance, infrastructural development, market research and development, regulatory support, monitoring and evaluation, networking and collaboration, and lastly, continued cooperation and support. Mr. Speaker, there is a critical role of the agro-processing industry in the overall development and satisfaction of the agricultural sector, which is why we give our unwavering support to the Honorable Minister of Finance budget presentation. We will need these products to capitalize on the opportunities presented as we increase airlift capacity, tourist visits, and stay-over visitors in Dominica to 500,000 by 2030. These air and seaport transportation media will certainly need access to pre-packaged, raw and processed healthy food options for frequent long-haul flights, supplied to the hotels, restaurants, and Airbnbs consistently, and the hundreds of tourism, agriculture, construction, and other service providers demanding these products on a daily basis. That's the guarantee, however, of the upcoming international airports and the developments across the island. Therefore, we are resetting our agricultural programs to create an environment that provides a regulatory, technical, and financial support, for it is the opportune time to take the agro-processing sector to the next level and position the farmers, fishers, and processors to reap maximum benefits from these efforts. In the coming weeks, Mr. Speaker, we will continue our ongoing visits and engagements with the producers and processors, the related organizations and entities, as well as potential investors and allies. Too often, Mr. Speaker, we have priced ourselves out of markets and find ourselves in positions where we conclude that there are no markets for our crops, livestock, and other products. But the truth is, there are too many, and need I say there are more than enough. With these investments and support measures outlined in this year's budget, we will assist farmers in ensuring that variety and breeds of the highest quality for processing are provided at affordable rates that make the final product less expensive and more competitive. Mr. Speaker, permit me to briefly speak to the allocation of funds to the National Youth in Agriculture Program, launched in March of this year, just over 1 million EC dollars. This program targets and caters specifically to the youth for sustainable and innovative agricultural ventures, climate-smart agriculture, agro-processing, large-scale production, and so much more. Further, our agricultural mandate through this Youth in Agriculture program allows for the redesign and relaunch of the umbrella organization NAYA, introduction of the Young Farmers and Farmers Group Directory, enterprise development training, Friends of NAYA, the formation of the Youth in Agriculture Desk, and the national profiling of youth in agriculture. This program certainly guarantees support for young farmers, fishers, and processors. Mr. Speaker, we are pledging our support to entrepreneurs who are willing to preserve and add value to the commodities that form a large component of our food imports. We pledge our support to women and youth, farmer groups, and aspiring entrepreneurs blazing the trail. I implore all of you to embrace the opportunities available for training, improving standards, branding, labeling, and packaging, increasing storage, handling, and processing capacity. Mr. Speaker, the opportunities are endless. And my only advice at this moment to the young farmers and processors out there, like the famous artist said, let's make something happen. Mr. Speaker, prawns, tilapia, lobster and other seafood, simos, coconut, cassava, toloma, breadfruit, potatoes, castor, cocoa, coffee. We can and will certainly make something happen. Now, Mr. Speaker, as the self-proclaimed, right, as the self-proclaimed and self-appointed ambassador of agro-processing, I am on a mission to transforming this industry, from coconut to beauty products, from cassava to wholesome healthy snacks, from breadfruit and sweet potato to chips, from tomato to sauce, from CMOS to gels and energy drinks, from fruits to jams, jellies, and confectionaries, from potato to fries, from milk to dairy products, from toloma to infant and elderly supplements, from herbs to essential oils, from beeswax to balms. Mr. Speaker, we are going to make it happen. Now, Mr. Speaker and my colleagues, follow me for a brief moment. And going through the budget, I did some quick maths, right? And being the coconut specialist myself, right? 1 hectare of land, Mr. Charles, Senator Charles, 1 hectare of land, Honorable Charles, about 2.5 acres will accommodate 200 coconut plants in low-density plantations. In high-density plantations, about 280 plants, and in ultra-high-density areas, 480 plants. Right? Fruiting and harvesting would commence in the 4th year with hybrid varieties, producing about 200 nuts per year, with one tree bearing no fewer than 600 years. So therefore, when I did my quick maths, 200 trees by 5,000 acres, by 200 coconuts, by $1 a coconut, by 20 coconuts per bottle of coconut oil, by $60, by 60 years is 700 million by 20. Mr. Speaker, remember I am the self-proclaimed and self-appointed ambassador of what? Agro-processing. And I am the coconut specialist. So when I tell you I do my maths, I do my maths. Now, Mr. Speaker, as we advance expansion in the industry, there are 4 critical inputs that will be required in large volumes, and in order for us to realize the true gains from increased agricultural output, we must pay attention to 1, planting materials, 2, animal feed, 3, fertilizers, and agrochemicals. Thus, we'll be providing direct support and investment in the production of these outputs. from organic grass mulches and fertilizers to cassava-based poultry feed, we are really putting our money where our mouths are. Mr. Speaker, while the highest level of informality is thought to be found in the agricultural sector, there is a willingness to wait for crops to grow, animals and fish to mature, and money to be received weeks after selling produce. It is this willingness and patience we seek as we drive this sector forward. Now, Mr. Speaker, enough about agro-processing and agriculture. I think my Minister for Agriculture and my fisheries expert has said enough. So to my constituents of the Paybush constituency, Kalibishi, Benz, Ansdime, Ansolder, Paybush, Teplat, Wamopak, and Providence. From day one, you have had my stern commitment and diligence, and the same energy was reciprocated. Mr. Speaker, permit me to take this special time to thank Honorable Rosalind Paul for her continued leadership and service over the past 2 terms, and for her guidance and support these past 7 months. Mr. Speaker, being a Paleb, I've realized that it's a very, very lonely place. You either only see somebody when they need something or when something goes wrong. And when times are good, you see them too. But when you lay on your bed, you realize that there's nobody around, even if you know that you have hundreds and thousands of people on your side. So I want to thank the people of the Paybush constituency, and most of all, I want to thank Honorable Rosalind Paul for her support and her guidance over this period. But Mr. Speaker, we have witnessed the completion of several projects, including the Walls and Road Reconstruction Project, the Bopla and Middle Ridge feeder roads to a tune of $6.8 million, and the extensive housing recovery efforts and business support. Currently, 16 housing units are nearing completion at the Asiplat Paybush Housing Project, and we are optimistic that the same will be extended to Simon Benz and Kalibishi. The Let's Grow initiative is ongoing, Mr. Speaker, providing, engaging, and empowering over 160 young persons and young farmers in backyard gardening through a seedling program. Our youngest farmer, Ms. Chade Sirius, is only 9 years old. There has also been tremendous emphasis placed on personal, enterprise, and community development, and so support has been extended to over 25 small businesses and community-oriented organizations. While we have not yet seen the formal opening of the Anzime Health and Wellness Center, it is in full operation, and my constituents and nurses have a brand new facility thanks to the Dominican Labour Party. Mr. Speaker, the Anzime Jetty, the long-awaited development, will also soon come to fruition. We will be establishing at least 50 acres of coconuts within the constituency to support the coconut water and dry nut industries. The water improvement project at Kalibishi under the Basic Needs Trust Fund is also on the cards. We will be working toward the construction of the Paybush Cultural Center, a much-needed piece of infrastructure in that community. Mr. Speaker, the upgrading and adequate lighting of the Anzime playing field and Benz basketball court, and the rehabilitation of the basketball courts at Paybush and Kalibishi will also commence soon. I am elated to inform the people of Kalibishi animating facility in the coming weeks. I will ensure that my constituents continue to take advantage of the 3% loans at the A-Bank and the many training opportunities available from the Small Business Unit. I want to say to Honorable Grant that we are taking the international effort upon ourselves. You know we are a tourism community, a farming community, and an agro-processing community. We shall position ourselves to take full advantage of the opportunities that this international airport will present. Mr. Speaker, as a first-time parliamentarian, I recognize the monumental significance of this moment, not only for myself, but for the thousands of young minds across our nation seeking a brighter and more prosperous future. I am committed to not only serving as a parliamentary representative and secretary, but as the voice for all citizens recognizing that age, gender, religion, or backgrounds are no boundaries. Conclusively, Mr. Speaker, I once more support wholeheartedly a budget, a crucial instrument that will guide our nation's economic course for the upcoming fiscal year. We approach this task with a clear 2020 vision and horse-powered intellect to foster an inclusive, sustainable, and resilient economy, leaving no one behind. Thank you, honorable members. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you to the Peebush constituency. Thank you, Dominica, and may God bless you.
I recognize Honorable Pinard. Honorable Pinard, you may proceed.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members of the House, esteemed colleagues, I rise today to make my contribution to the 2023-2024 Appropriation Act before this honorable House. Mr. Speaker, I beg your permission to read from my notes during this presentation.
Permission is granted.
Mr. Speaker, my ministry stands at a critical juncture, poised to contribute meaningfully to the transformation of Dominica's growing economy. We stand poised to pave the way for a stronger and more vibrant entrepreneurial ecosystem. The focus of the Entrepreneurship and Small Business Unit is underpinned by our financial, our technical, and our operational support provided to all small and medium-sized businesses. We've added focus on those within the value-added industries and the agro-processing industry, as well as our manufacturing, our agro-tourism, and our digitally oriented businesses. In this budget, we have also made allowance for additional operational support through the provision of operating facilities for manufacturing, agro-processing, and other strategically aligned small businesses. Mr. Speaker, I will focus my remarks on the youth of our nation, my ministry's position on gender equity within the context of this budget, and how we are considering our indigenous Kalinago brothers and sisters, and our differently abled persons in the formulation of our programs. I will also show how our efforts will align with the government's investment projects, such as the International Airport, the Cabrit Marina, and the Cable Car project. Mr. Speaker, I also intend to speak about an initiative which will address the growing concern of wastage on our local fruits and other produce. Mr. Speaker, this year we will experience the advent of a new era in Dominica's economic development, where our fruits will no longer drop and rot, but rather through stimulation of agro-processing, we will see increased demand and supply within the circular economy. Mr. Speaker, over the past 10 years, the government has invested in excess of $27 million to enhance small businesses. These investments have yielded in excess of $54.6 million in returns, indicating that for every dollar we give to a small business, we get 2 in return. This is noteworthy as it illustrates that the government investment over the years have had a pivotal impact on our small businesses that are contributing meaningfully to the creation of jobs and Dominica's gross domestic product. Mr. Speaker, the Entrepreneurship and Small Business Support Unit continues to provide various services, inclusive of grant financing, advisory or hand-holding services, training, and operational support. We facilitate small businesses obtaining fiscal incentive licenses, and we have arranged small businesses trade shows, platforms, and business-to-business forums, to name but a few. Over the financial year 2022-2023, over 400 businesses benefited from the varied services offered by the Small Business Support Unit. In this new financial year, the Small Business Unit will augment and expand its services. We will be steering the implementation of several projects, programs, and activities designed to boost the performance of small businesses while furthering our national interests and our priorities. Mr. Speaker, whilst in the public service, a simplified description of small businesses are those earning $250,000 or less. However, we appreciate that other factors may be considered in describing a small businesses. Factors such as the value of the total assets or the number of employees are also critical in looking at the categorizing a business. Mr. Speaker, at present, we don't have a national, a universal description or definition for what entails a small businesses. And so it is because of that, the Small Business Unit will be putting together the small business policy that will create a universal description of what a small business constitutes in Dominica. Now that policy will guide government policies. It will help us focus and target our programs so that we can know that we are targeting the exact number of businesses, and then we can be able to pull in the statistics on how these programs have been operating. Are they successful? Are they not successful? Because if we put in place programs to target a particular size of business, we want to know that that is the same size, that is the same business that the banks, that the other bigger businesses will be putting into that same category. And then they will be also, the reaction to those businesses will be what we expect it to be, and then we can analyze the results of our programs. So in this year, we will be putting together the small business policy. Mr. Speaker, over the past 10 years, the government has invested Mr. Speaker, we are elated that in the coming year, our government has chosen to continue the grants intervention to deserving small businesses, as reflected by the $500,000 that has been allocated in the budget. We will direct your attention to the $27,000 grant facility that will also soon be made available to the small business seeking to build or expand their digital capacity, as informed by the Honorable Grant from the Wesley constituency in his presentation yesterday. Mr. Speaker, we remain cognizant of the challenges many of our small business owners face in accessing the necessary financing needed to start or expand the business. For many of us, loans are either unavailable or they are unaffordable, and equity financing is simply not available. However, we also understand the importance of small businesses' contribution to job creation and to our economy is unmatched. And so it is imperative that we spare no effort in ensuring that Dominica has a strong and vibrant small business sector. In the upcoming weeks, we will begin the development of relevant performance targets and performance indicators, as well as the means to capture the relevant data that will allow us to gauge our performance against the performance targets that we have set. Mr. Speaker, that is meant to ensure that we have increased accountability and efficiency in the operations of the small businesses. Because whilst we might be providing the correct support to small businesses, if it is not done in a timely fashion, then the impact will be muted. So what we're looking to do, Mr., in the spirit of the reset, is to increase accountability and efficiency within the operations of the small business, so that the small business owners and the small businesses can benefit from the maximum, can get the maximum benefit from the government's programs and the government support that we put in place. Mr. Speaker, the value-added industries have long been recognized as critical drivers of economic development. They create jobs and they diversify the economic base. With the weight of our economy shifting towards agricultural development and higher value-added production, it is imperative to upgrade our infrastructure and strengthen our support for promoting innovation and technological improvement in our manufacturing and service industries. This budget allocates a substantial $1.15 million to enable these industries to innovate and grow, providing critical support for the upskilling, modernization, and digitization. When we speak of support to value-added industries, our focus extends from manufacturing to services, from agri-processing to technology. The Dominican Labour Party government, led by our Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit, is committed to investing in infrastructure that allows these industries to grow and flourish. Apart from this funding, if a young citizen of Dominica wants to utilize their IT skills, my ministry will collaborate with the Ministry of the Digital Economy to leverage the digital hubs around Dominica to set up shared workspaces that are already equipped with high-speed internet and other modern facilities to aid startups, entrepreneurships seeking to develop value-added digital products and services. This, we believe, will not only increase their competitiveness, but will significantly contribute to the national income. Support to producers of local juices, Mr. Speaker. The juice production sector, which represents an integral part of our local agriculture and agro-processing industry, will receive added attention this year. We have a budgetary allocation of $1 million that has been committed to support our juice producers. Investments will be made in capacity building initiatives. We will enhance access to financing, plants and equipment, and the promotion of market access for our local juice producers. This targeted program is not conceived in isolation, as it supports our goal to have agriculture and affiliated downstream businesses increase their GDP contribution to the minimum of $700 million by 2030. This program will therefore require collaboration with the Ministry of Agriculture and the Ministry of Trade. Our objective is to create an organized market for our growers, ensuring that their produce is sold at a fair price. The initiative will not only encourage our existing farmers, but it will also hopefully attract more people towards farming, thus further strengthening our agricultural sector. Mr. Speaker, we also recognize the paradox that whilst we have an abundance of fruits during certain seasons, leading to wastage, there is a scarcity during the off-seasons when the demand remains high, and we are determined to help address this issue. Our support to local juice producers will assist with tackling this issue by promoting and developing the agro-processing industry, particularly the production of juices. We can make better use of our fruits during the peak season. This will not only reduce waste, but it will also provide an opportunity to preserve the fruits in the form of juices, which can then be supplied year-round. This will effectively extend the lifespan of our seasonal fruits, ensuring that their value is retained and enjoyed beyond their natural seasons. In addition, our initiative to provide rental facilities for manufacturing and agro-processing is another step towards mitigating fruit wastage. With access to such facilities, more local entrepreneurs can engage in agro-processing, further increasing our capacity to preserve fruits during the peak season. Mr. Speaker, in March 2022, the government gave the Aid Bank $27.8 million to provide loans at a concessionary rate of 3% to small businesses. Now, these funds form another layer of support to alleviate the challenge of small businesses accessing financing. Mr. Speaker, as at June 30th, 2023, 277 loans have been approved with a total of $16.5 million. We are pleased with the uptake of this facility so far, Mr. Speaker, and we encourage all our small businesses to take full advantage of this opportunity to access low-cost financing. We also encourage those who have taken loans under that facility to be mindful of your financial and your civic responsibility. You need to service your loans on time because the monies that you repay into the facility will again become available for further lending, and so the total amount that will be lent under that facility can far exceed the original $27.8 million that was deposited onto the account. Mr. Speaker, our government recognizes the added difficulties that our Kalinago brothers and sisters face. Beyond the prolonged prejudicial and disrespectful treatment that they have been subjected to by former administrations, their land ownership challenge is a unique one that often disadvantages them in accessing credit through the standard means. But we believe that our Kalinagos, our indigenous people, our first people, must have an equal opportunity to prosper, and we owe them no less. The facility at the Aid Bank gives special consideration to our Kalinago brothers and sisters. Mr. Kosi Frederick, you can clap now. Our Kalinago brothers and sisters will get a further concessionary rate of 2%. Mr. Speaker, I apologize for addressing Kosi directly. Can get a further concessionary rate of 2%. And my ministry is also partnering with the Kalinago Council and other established groups in the reserve to enhance the entrepreneurship skills of our indigenous people. Moreover, in our drive to strengthen the private sector relationships, we have ensured that the concerns and the aspirations of the Kalinago are heard and they are incorporated into our policies and into our programs. Their unique perspective can enrich our policy-making decisions and our processes, leading to solutions that better cater to unique needs. Mr. Speaker, in the past year, my ministry collaborated with the Organization of American States, the OAS, to implement the Women Economic Empowerment Project in Dominica. EC $4.3 million have been secured for the WE project, which will benefit 6 countries in the OECS and 3 in Central America. The main objective of the WE project is to enhance the capacity of women entrepreneurs and women-led small businesses to use and benefit from the digital economy. Mr. Speaker, to date, 77 women are actively participating in the project. 18 of them are startups, 34 are near market ready, and 25 are market ready businesses. Though financial assistance is of paramount importance, non-financial assistance also plays a critical systematic role which enables business development. In the year 2022-2023, 500 small businesses benefited from direct and indirect outreach interventions, and therefore I am elated to inform this Honorable House that in this financial year, the unit will be adding decentralized services from a community-based perspective. The intention, Mr. Speaker, is to collaborate with the Ministry of the Digital Economy by utilizing the digital hubs across Dominica to offer these services. Additionally, this initiative also includes town hall-style meetings to raise awareness amongst small business owners on our available services, incentives, and initiatives. Fiscal incentive concession license, Mr. Speaker. I am pleased to report that our Labour Party government has seen the need to provide the small business sector most notably businesses making less than $250,000, the opportunity to benefit from import duty waivers. This money being left in this is money, being left in the pockets of our small business owners at the expense of the consolidated funds. Truly, our government is leaving no stone unturned in its attempt to support small businesses. Mr. Speaker, the availability of platforms where small businesses can gain brand recognition, income generation, and networking opportunities is crucial to their development and their market reach. These small businesses, in most cases, do not have substantial budgets to create that level of exposure for themselves. The unit is therefore filling this void by hosting trade shows, and this year we took it to a whole new level. Over the past year, we hosted the Business to Business Forum and the TV Village Quail. And over a 2 days period, we also hosted the Small Business Health and Wellness Trade Show at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium. "83 small businesses from across Dominica benefited from this lucrative event, and we will continue to provide critical support to our small businesses in this coming financial year. Our next trade show has already been planned. It's already on the books, Mr. Speaker. We are looking to provide a trade show for small businesses engaged in the fauna and flora business in December of 2023. So that is something to look out for. Mr. Speaker, another part of our non-financial support to small businesses is that of provided in collaboration with the Dominica Bureau of Standards. The aim of our collaboration is to ensure that locally processed and manufactured products meet the necessary standards to compete in the domestic, regional, and international markets. Through this partnership, we will facilitate enhanced product quality and competitiveness, thereby enabling access to wider markets. We intend to establish a sustainable framework for ongoing support to small businesses, enabling them to continuously meet standards and access necessary certification services. Mr. Speaker, the Labour Party government recognizes that the youth are not just our future. They are our present, and we are committed to making them everything they can be. Lucky you can clap too. We are doing all in our power to ensure that our youth get every opportunity to realize their full potential, to fulfill their destinies, and to grow into the leaders that we need them to be. Our government has put in place well-known and popular programs to support our youth. We have the 40 and under housing support program that gives persons of 40 years and under $10,000 to help build, furnish, or improve their homes. We give free education from kindergarten all the way through to the state college. We give books, uniforms, shoes, and passage support to children in primary and high schools. We offer free medical treatment at all our government facilities for all persons under the age of 18. We have established the Dominica Youth Business Trust, which supports our youth in a wide range of business-related supports, including training, mentorship, credit guarantees, and more. And we recently passed 5 family bills into law that are structured to provide the strongest support to our youth and other vulnerable members. Mr. Speaker, for many of us, we are approaching our twilight, and our hope is that we can enjoy and our hope is that Mr. Speaker, I am approaching my twilight.
Yes. Fact you are clarified.
And Mr. Speaker, my hope is that I will see a future We will leave a strong future in the hands of our youth and those who are coming after. But we recognize and we appreciate this is a change and ever-changing world that they have inherited. We now live in the age of technology and digital transformations with new ways of doing things, of thinking, and of interacting with each other, and of doing business, of course. This is the world where blockchain technology, artificial intelligence, and 3D printing are becoming as natural and basic tools to this generation as a calculator was to Miss Bunny. Furthermore, competition is no longer from our neighbor down the road. In order to succeed and to thrive in this changed world, our young people must be equipped with skills and resources that are needed to compete on a global level. A young IT technician in Dominica will be competing for jobs alongside a young technician sitting in Japan, or China, the US, Europe, Africa. To succeed, we must rise to the occasion. We must lift our youth to that global occasion. At the Small Business Unit, we appreciate the challenge and the responsibility resting on our young people's shoulders, and we are stepping up to the plate to assist. Small businesses of a digital and technical nature are prioritized in the Small Business Unit. We will do all within our power and partner with other ministries and agencies to ensure that all suitable candidates that show the necessary potential and promise to succeed in this new cutting-edge sector will get the maximum support from the government. We recognize that their success is Dominica's success. There is no doubt that this government is doing everything to support our young people to rise to the challenge and to succeed. Mr. Speaker, it is our government's sincere belief that all of our citizens, including the differently abled, must be active participants in our nation's growth. At the Small Business Unit, our approach is twofold. We are enhancing accessibility and we are creating opportunities. In both respects, the budget and the plans from our ministry have several initiatives that will positively impact the differently abled. For value-added industries and local juice producers, we aim to create an inclusive environment that supports the differently able and support them in obtaining employment or becoming entrepreneurs. Specialized training programs will be developed to accommodate the different styles of disabilities, ensuring that everyone can acquire the necessary skills to participate in these industries and live fulfilling lives. In the rental facilities program for manufacturing and agro-processing, we will strive to implement universal design principles, making sure the facilities are accessible and usable by all, regardless of physical limitations. We'll also work to ensure that any training or support provided is accessible and adapted to the needs of the less differently enabled. In strengthening private sector relations, we will encourage businesses to implement inclusive hiring practices and create accessible workspaces. We will advocate for policies that ensure that everyone has equal access to job opportunities and can contribute their skills and talents to our country. As a party and as a government, we will remain true to our guiding principle that all shall eat. Mr. Speaker, the budget before us presents the funding for a number of capital projects that are currently ongoing or will begin in the coming year. Mr. Speaker, we all understand the absolute importance of the major capital projects that are currently ongoing or planned for the short term. We must invest to further diversify our economy because diversification will strengthen our revenue streams, and my ministry stands ready to support our various capital projects by ensuring that our small businesses and those with that entrepreneurial spirit are prepared to take full advantage of what is coming. Mr. Speaker, the international airport, which has already started, will be the single largest capital investment that our country will have undertaken, with a cost exceeding $1 billion. The investment is significant, and we expect the benefits will be even more significant. The international airport will address the issue of access, which has been one of our longest standing bottlenecks to economic development. For too long, our development has been stunted due to the various access difficulties, which include extended travel time, often involving multiple stops, with higher costs, lost baggage. However, the international airport will address all these issues, and as such, we expect to realize a significant increase in visitor arrivals on its completion. Dominica has all that it needs to be a world leader in the tourism industry. As a country, then you have a lot to work with. As a country, we have been so richly blessed with an abundance of natural resources that are at world-class level. Coupled with the friendliness of our good citizens, we are already being hailed as one of the world's top tourism destinations. Mr. Speaker, as a valedictorian graduate of the University of the West Indies, you know I have to say that. I have often lamented that so far we have been unable to host a graduation ceremony that can accommodate the entire open campus in the Caribbean. So far we have had 4 open campus valedictorians. I was the first, just to point that out. But none of the ceremonies have been held here in Dominica. Our challenge with access limits our ability to host these large ceremonies. Therefore, with the completion of the international airport and the continued increase in our hotel rooms and other major infrastructure, we expect to host many of these in the future. Given our strategic location, sitting in the middle of the Caribbean, Dominica is ideally placed to become a hub of activities and events of a regional scale, thereby adding a whole new category of visitors to Dominica. The international airport will also bring some additional benefits in the area of trade, especially where goods with short shelf life are concerned. Our ability to bring in large amounts of food and other necessities following a natural disaster would also be significantly enhanced, thereby adding another layer of support to ensuring our food and national security. All things said, Mr. Speaker, the international airport is a must, and we have no choice but to just keep going forward with it. Mr. Speaker, I think Vince explained it here somewhere. But, Mr. Speaker, we have given particular attention to upgrading our road networks to improve communication and transport to support the major capital projects underway. We have roads from Pocassi to Hatton Garden, from Bois Diab to Cassie Bruce and into the Kalinago territory, Layo Valley to York Valley Bridge. We have done significant work to ease movement across the island. The Marina at the Cabrits is another upcoming project that will create significant opportunities for small business development in Portsmouth and the surrounding communities like Cottage. The Small Business Support Unit, and Colio, and Mao. The Small Business Support Unit will therefore ensure that this part of the country is included in our community outreach program, where we will again enlighten the prospective small business owners on how they might explore new business opportunities, as well as provide them with the necessary training and other financial and technical support that will assist them to capitalize on the opportunities that will arise from the construction of the marina. It is easy to conceive how small businesses such as food and beverage, nightclubs, boat repairs and maintenance, fishing supplies, grocery shops, tour operators, and others might complement the marina to ensure that our visitors have a most rewarding experience in Dominica. Mr. Speaker, through our community outreach programs, we will visit the various communities to encourage our citizens to review the various governmental investments and seek to identify businesses that need to be developed to support the emerging projects. After identifying prospective opportunities, we may need to provide training and upgrade their skills. The Honorable Prime Minister has outlined the need for a reset and a revamping of our education system. We at the Small Business Unit Support will ensure that the training we provide is relevant for these times and the new future that we are building. We see the increased prevalence and use of digital technology and artificial intelligence that is at the forefront of this new age, and we will therefore ensure that we support and equip our small businesses so that they are not left behind. Our ministry's initiative to provide rental facilities for manufacturing and agro-processing is designed to support businesses in scaling up their operations to meet the anticipated increase in demand. With greater access to affordable production facilities, our small businesses will be better equipped to take advantage of the opportunities the international airport and other similar investments will bring. Overall, Mr. Speaker, our capital investments, such as the airports, are catalysts for economic transformation. Our ministry's plans, and before I continue, Mr. Speaker, she is not here, but I wanted to thank the Honorable Miriam Blanchard. Oh, she hi. I wanted to thank the Honorable Blanchard for the strong support that she provides at the Ministry of Labor and the Small Business. Her mentorship, because she's a veteran and she reminds us, is truly appreciated. I also wish to profusely thank my PS Gloria Joseph, as well as Michael Nola Oli, and the staff of the Small Business Opportunity for their strong support over the past few months since I have been here. Our ministry's plans and programs are laying the groundwork for our small businesses and other stakeholders to leverage these major investments, turning them into a springboard for sustainable growth and prosperity. The government's continued support of education and education reform. Why do I have that? Sorry. Okay, Mr. Speaker, I will now want to mention how the budget is touching my constituency. As the minister responsible for small business and as the parliamentary representative for the Collier constituency, I will start by showing how the small business has impacted the Collier constituency. Mr. Speaker, the government's continued support of education and education reform in the Collier constituency, we again witnessed another strong performance from the Jubla Primary School in this year's Grade 6 National Assessment, where the school placed 4th overall. Okay, here we go. I do apologize. Papers got mixed up. Okay, Mr. Speaker, the Small Business Unit has provided support to the Collier small businesses totaling over $53 million in the past year. Now, we have given grants to various types of businesses, including the honey, the Busy Bee Honey, and other shopkeepers, and the various types of businesses. That is just in the past year. Now, these grants have provided vital support to our entrepreneurs, enabling them to acquire essential equipment and stock that will aid in their business development. Mr. Speaker, we celebrate these small businesses, we celebrate their success, and acknowledge the contributions that they make to our local economy. Mr. Speaker, the budget includes $106 million in investments to education. At this time in our history, when there are so many other significant demands on our limited resources, this represents a significant commitment to advancing our education agenda. In my constituency, we are very pleased for the government's continued support of education and education reform. In the Collier constituency, we again witness another strong performance from the Dublin Primary School at this year's Grade 6 National Assessment, where the school placed 4th overall. Mr. Speaker, this is a very tiny school, but we can all agree that it is punching very high above its weight. And all we can do is stand in admiration and applaud. Let's applaud. Mr. Speaker, education has always been forefront of the government's policy and investment. We believe that every household should have a university graduate. Achieving university education makes an individual more marketable and therefore translates to the ability to gain quality jobs.
21 more minutes.
Yes,
21.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, this translates to the ability to gain quality jobs and the creation of employment to leverage financial burden within households. Mr. Speaker, in the Collier constituency, we have had 12 constituents successfully receiving scholarships from the government of Dominica, and 6 have so far completed. The Collier constituency is a stone throw away from the Portsmouth constituency, where the American Canadian Medical School is located. The school has just attained accreditation from and is on the verge of commencing operations. This augurs well for us as it presents educational and employment opportunities for my constituents, and I urge my lovely people from the Collier constituency to ensure that full advantage is taken of this impending opportunity. We have witnessed the start of something great in Collier. Over the past year, we have seen an increase in the focus on agriculture that has culminated with the fencing of our Collier School garden. The great thing about this is that the fencing was done by the parents and the teachers and myself, with me joining them to get it done. Citizens are taking on more personal responsibility for the upliftment and are joining forces to take our village forward. The complete fencing of the Collier School is our next target, and we hope to start so in the coming weeks, Mr. Speaker. For the first time in recent memory, we are also having a full summer program at the Collier Primary School that is expected to continue for a period of 4 weeks. At my last report, the number of students attending this program, it nearly equated the total number of students attending the school, and I am getting reports that new students are adding and coming on board every day when they hear of how well the program is doing. I want to applaud the NEP workers that has started this program, Nakia, Weisel, and others. Over the course of the past year, I have continued to provide very strong support to both primary schools in my constituency, especially in the area of the school feeding program, where I have committed to providing monthly food supplies to augment that which is already being received from the government of Dominica. Now, the aim is to ensure that every child can get a meal, regardless of their financial circumstance. And I will continue this program in the coming school year. I have also supported the college students in my constituency by providing them with transportation grants to and from the Dominica State College. And that is another program I also intend to continue in the upcoming year. That is part of what I do with my $50,000. I do not build whole roads to my home with it. Just had to throw that in there. I wish to, while Simon, that I wish to recognize Miss Ebony Malaika John Charles of BIOSH on graduating as the valedictorian of the Isaiah Thomas Secondary School this year. She is such a dedicated, this is such a dedicated and positive young lady. Every time I visit a mother, a household. She's in a room studying. So it is not surprising that she came out as the valedictorian. We want to wish her the best of luck as she enters a new chapter at the Dominica State College. I am sure she will continue to make her mother and all of us very proud. Mr. Speaker, as parliamentary representative for the Kolio constituency, I will ensure that every child has the means to succeed. I believe in a sound education and I believe in our children. Mr. Speaker, I spoke earlier about the need to enhance our road network and our night activities leading up to the commissioning of the international airport. I am pleased to report that we are doing our small part in Biosh. We have already started. We got ahead. A few weeks ago, the residents of Biosh and I must recognize the persons that helps, like Drago and the others. These residents, they came and they joined with the Biosh Labour Party group to redo and pave a section of the road in the Lagon Biosh area that is leading to the fishing lockers and the docks. Now, the interesting thing about this road, Mr. Speaker, is that while it is used for transportation, it is not a heavily used road in that regard. But that road is one that is where the main activities take place in Biosh, things like the fish nights and the other various social activities in the community. So what we are doing is putting together not just road, but we are rebuilding the social and the entertainment fabric of Biosh. Mr. Speaker, consultation has already begun on the Biosh septic challenge. As we speak, I am working with one of our foremost professionals and leaders in the community to provide the necessary assistance in crafting a solution to this long-standing problem. Now, I am very confident that we will get that problem solved within the coming year, and I can put a proposal to Cabinet for its consideration. Mr. Speaker, the government's commitment to the blue economy has been very well outlined. And I am pleased to report that my constituency will not be left behind. The Honorable Defoe specifically mentioned Biosh and Dubla, and I am looking forward to their support. Mr. Speaker, I have recently prepared a proposal for the completion of the ice making facility in Dubla. That facility was constructed in collaboration with the residents of Dubla, with the funding made available from the government of Dominica. And the intention, Mr. Speaker, is to continue that facility in that same spirit. The Honorable Minister for the Blue Economy has given me the assurance that as soon as this budget is passed, we will receive the funding to complete that facility. And so we are very much looking forward to that in the village of Dubla, Mr. Minister. Mr. Speaker, we have a long sporting history in the Kolio constituency. Both Kolio and Dubla have produced a number of national and regional cricketers, some of which have gone on to represent the West Indies. And Dubla has produced a number of national footballers, and at this time sits atop of the Dominica Premier League. Where is Miss Lockhart? We are at the top of the Dominica Premier League in football. Mr. Speaker, at the last count, we had 6 players, including the captain on the Dominica senior national football team, the men's football team. I wish to extend congratulatory remarks to the captain of the Dominica football team, Mr. Braille Thomas from my constituency, who is joined by his fellow teammate, Felix Jr. Anselm, a member of the LYO, Travis Joseph, Odell Laville, Javid George, and Savio Ansel. Over the past few months, we have also seen the resurgence of the Dubla women's football team, which features our reigning Miss Dwop Duet, Nikes Moransi. A lot of good things are happening down there. We're small, but we're mighty. And Miss Nikes is joined by so many other bright young ladies from the community of Dubla and Biosh. Now, the Dubla women's team can also boast of having 3 players, that is Star Humphreys, Rosalinda Paul, and Sherita Paul on the national women's team. And we also have this beautiful young lady from Colio, who is part of the team, Kian George, who plays for the national under-17 team. So my support to this women team was recently demonstrated. It's no surprise that I ran in the sports store and get football boots for them. So Mr. Speaker, I recently gave boots to all the members of the team that did not have a pair of football boots. I also supported the domestic football league that took place in Dublin, where we had our local constituency competition that was organized in Dublin. Now I sponsored the BOSH team, the name was BOSH United, earlier in the year. And in the upcoming financial year, I will assist by helping with the irrigation system on the playing field, so that especially during the dry season, we can maintain a good playing surface. And we will also continue the construction of the Dublin pavilion on the playing field. I have also started initial discussions with the coach of the Dublin team, Mr. Kevin Charles, on how we might put in some sitting stands on that playing field. Now, Mr. Speaker, it's also important to mention that in Collyhoo, we have also revived football. Collyhoo now have a men's football team playing for the first division competition. Now, I also recently contributed a number of football boots and uniform and training equipment to the men's football team in Collyhoo. Now, we also have plans to construct a new playing field in Collyhoo that will be larger and more strategically located than the existing playing field. Mr. Speaker, sports is high in my constituency and it is only rising higher.
10 more minutes.
Mr. Speaker, with the support from the Ministry of the Public Works, we are addressing the matter of street lighting in my constituency. The NEP teams have nearly completed digging the holes and making the necessary preparations for the installation of the solar and wind-powered lights. And these have been taking place in various hamlets throughout the constituency. We have Mont Blanc, Collyhoo village itself, Platte-Napier, Behosh, and O'Hara in Dublin. All these areas will receive new lights from the government. And the expectation is that these should be completed within the coming weeks. In the area of housing, Mr. Speaker, as indicated by the over $69 million that have been so allocated, we can confirm that the housing revolution remains a priority of our government. The housing revolution has already touched my constituency and is expected to continue at full speed in the coming year. This Labour Party government has so far been instrumental in transforming the life of 10 households at Platte-Napier. We have sheltered 10 families by providing them with safer, more comfortable, and ensuring them a better and more dignified life, Mr. Speaker. We are also pleased to announce that the government will make lands available to the constituents at Platte-Napier in the coming months. I want to assure my beloved constituents in Platte-Napier that I have heard their call for a bus stop, especially with respect to the children going to school. And so I am pleased to inform them that we will be starting the bus stop next month. And next month is almost upon us. So in August 2023, we will be starting the bus stop at Platte-Napier. And we have plans to do 3 other bus stops at strategic locations throughout the constituency. In Collyhoo, in Behosh, next to Paradise Hill, and up in O'Hara. We have 3 more bus stops after the Platte-Napier one to come. Mr. Speaker, now returning to our housing program, I am very pleased to announce that we have received approval for another 10 houses at Platte-Napier, which are expected to begin soon. Another 10 families will soon receive the blessing of a new home from this, the Dominican Labour Party government. Additionally, Mr. Speaker, outside these large housing developments, we continue to provide housing support for repairs and improvements to our residents. Over the past few months, support has been granted to constituents for the construction of washrooms, for the installation of windows, doors, kitchen cupboards, and various other repairs. Just last week, another 10 families were blessed to receive a support totaling $37 million to effect such minor repairs. Oh, sorry, $47,000. Oh. just some that's ongoing maintenance and repairs to our housing system. There is no question how much this government cares for its people, Mr. Speaker, and that is why we are not just the safer choice, that is why we are the only choice. Now, Mr. Speaker, the government's concern for its citizens, especially the elderly and the less privileged members of our community, have been very well demonstrated in my constituency. And I want to really recognize the exceptional support that I receive from my constituency staff, like Sherita, Desiree, Larissa, and Monique. You know, the support is just so very much appreciated that I cannot say. In the constituency, in the Collier constituency, now we hold dear one of the fundamental tenets of the Dominican Labour Party, which is to take care of our vulnerable members of our community. In my constituency, we have a number of seniors benefiting from the government's 65 and over non-contributors pension. Also, I was therefore elated to see that the National Employment Program continues to receive strong budgetary support from our Labour Party. This is because the NEP continues to provide a critical service to our seniors and vulnerable in the constituency, as it does across Dominica. From day one, on becoming a PAL rep, I understood the importance of continuing and then on expanding on the work that my predecessor, the Honorable Lady Daniel, had started by making full use of our cherished NEP
5 more minutes. 5 more minutes.
in taking care of our elderly and vulnerable. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Now, thanks to the grace of our Honorable Prime Minister, over the past year, we have increased the number of NEP caregivers in Collier, Jubla, and Biosh. Additionally, we have created 2 new NEP community health aid positions, where the 2 officers visit the homes of all our seniors, ensuring that they are being well taken care of, ensuring that they are taking their medication, and ensuring that they are growing old with pride and dignity. Our appreciation for our seniors goes further, Mr. Speaker. We have made it a habit in Collier to deliver care packages to our seniors. We have also initiated the program whereby we recognize every senior from 70 years onward on their birthdays. We spend some time with them and we celebrate with them. We bring them a little birthday card with a little gift inside. Mr. Speaker, the deep gratitude and appreciation that they show makes every one of those visits an absolute joy. But, Mr. Speaker, we do not intend to end there in Collier constituency. Our dream is to continue to transform the constituency into one that our Dominicans living abroad will consider an ideal place to retire. We will create an environment where every one of our seniors is celebrated, treated with respect and dignity. My hope is for a multi-purpose community center where we can host regular seniors activities such as bingo nights, dances, plays, and other activities specifically targeted at our seniors. Now, we appreciate that in the past, it might have been necessary for people to move away, and I say in the past, necessary for them to move away to greener pastures. But what we want to create and what we want to show them is that Dominica is the place to return to, especially the Collier constituency, where we will be catering to their needs. 10 more minutes.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the honorable member be given an additional 10 minutes to wind up his presentation.
Seconded, Mr. Speaker.
It has been moved and seconded that the Honorable Minister be given an additional 10 minutes. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it. You have an additional 10 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, what we're looking to do in Collier is to create an environment that is very welcoming to seniors, very welcoming to the seniors in the diaspora. Because what we want to do is, to have this civic training where everyone can recognize that these are important citizens. When they come with their pensions and they come with their knowledge. So we want to have the community center where we will recognize them, we will have events for them, we will have bingo nights, we will have dances, traditional dances, we will have plays and theater, and just create an overall environment. We also have a good health center. We recently put in this very large generator, almost the size of that table, on the health center. We also put in a whole new water tank system, so they can not be too worried about the health aspect of it. Our health system is strong and it is getting better. And so overall, Dominica and the Collier constituency is a very welcoming place for the seniors, and so we are inviting them back to Dominica. Now, I was speaking earlier about a multi-purpose community center. One of the things we look to host there is the seniors activities. Now, Mr. Speaker, I am pleased to report to my constituents that our technical team at the Ministry of Public Works has already visited the site, and they are doing an assessment right now to confirm the feasibility of the location for the intended structure. Now, I expect that over the coming months, all the necessary information will be available, and that I can then bring a proposal to Cabinet for its consideration. Mr. Speaker, what we are hoping to construct is a single structure that will house a hall that will serve as a hurricane shelter. So we would no longer have to go down to Layu, a meetings hall, a reception and other events hall, a commercially equipped kitchen that will cater to the needs of the hurricane shelter and the reception hall. Now, the kitchen will also allow for the culinary and other cooking classes, where we can train and equip our citizens in line with our education reform, which is centered on technical and vocational development. The structure will also house a digital hub, where young persons can be trained and be ready for this new digital age. This facility will also be available to all students in the community, thereby ensuring access to the internet and safe and comfortable working space where students can do their homework, where they can study, where they can do research. The building will also facilitate other technical vocational training in areas such as sewing, art, music, theater, amongst others. And finally, the building will serve as a center location for the various offices in the constituency, such as the PAREP's office, the village council, the post office, and so on. Now, Mr. Speaker, this Labour Party government is a transformative one that is launching Dominica into the future. And I can assure my wonderful people of the Collier constituency that they will not be left behind. Now, in conclusion, Mr. Speaker, I wish to remind everyone that we are still in the hurricane season. Mr. Speaker, the honorable member from Grand Base is telling me.
Member. He affecting your flow. Yes, proceed. Proceed, Honorable Minister.
Yes. Now, Mr. Speaker, we are in the hurricane season, so I want to remind everyone to be prepared. Now, for those who can afford, maintain your reserves of food and water. Ensure that your generators are well serviced and in good working order. Check your hand radios and your power banks. Keep your surroundings free of debris and trim the trees that might pose a threat in high winds. In the Collier constituency, we again wish to thank the Honorable Prime Minister for his support in assisting us get prepared. We have recently dredged all our rivers in the constituency, and we also received critical hurricane supplies, sleeping cots, and food that we have put in the hurricane shelters at Biosh and Tubla. We again want to thank the Honorable Prime Minister and the government for its support. Now, what I want to urge our people, the people of my constituency and the people of Dominica, is to not take the kind of caring leadership for granted. Now, we need to stand up and we need to defend our national reset. We need to defend this budget, and we need to defend the government's policies and programs that are all meant to ensure a more social, healthy, prosperous, and caring nation. Let us remain forever grateful to the Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Roosevelt Skirt, and let us remain forever grateful to the Dominican Labour Party. Thank you. Mr. Speaker. Sorry. Oh, yeah. Mr. Speaker, I ask for the House to be adjourned to Monday at 10 a.m.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the House be adjourned to Monday, 31st July at 10 a.m.
Any second, Honorable Pinard?
Seconded.
Nice, nice. Yes, yes. So it has been moved and seconded that the House be adjourned to 10 a.m. Monday, 31st July, 2023. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it. House is adjourned to Monday, 31st July, 2023 at 10 a.m.